Merhabalar herkese. Hepiniz IFT Talks webinarlarına hoş geldiniz. Bugün İngiltere'nin ilk 5'teki en iyi üniversitesi University of Bath'ta eğitim olanaklarını Farman'dan dinliyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı soru cevap bölümünden yönlendirmeyi unutmayın. Yes, Farman, the stage is yours now.
Thank you so much, Zainab. I'll share my screen and
Yes.
then carry on. Okay,
Can you go to the presenter view, Farman?
okay, the presenter view.
Thank you so much.
Okay, are we there? Great. Thank you. With you today. It's a lovely sunny day in the UK. We're looking forward to some nicer weather as we move towards the late spring and summer months. Thank you for joining today. My name is Farman Cave. From the University of Bath's Central Student Recruitment Team. I'm an international recruitment manager. So what I'd like to do with you today is to give you a general presentation about the university. We'll talk a little bit about some specifics like scholarships and some of the key selling points of the university, more about where we are and so on. I won't be going into a lot of detail about any courses because we have hundreds of different courses and we just don't have the time to do that. But of course, you'll be able to see on our website if we've got particular courses that you are interested in. So let's carry on. The first thing I'm going to cover is why we feel that you should consider the University of Bath as a student or as parents for your children. And I've put together some key selling points about the university, if I can call it that, in the format of a quiz. So I'm going to go through these. I don't have time, unfortunately, to actually ask you to join. So it's just for you to think about, and I'll explain some of the answers as we go through. So the first question I have is what percentage of undergraduate courses offer a year-long work placement option? So is that 25%, 50%, 75%, or 100%? This is a very modern trend with a lot of universities in the UK, where the undergraduate courses have usually 3-year duration, but often they will have an additional year, usually in the third year, where you can take some paid work experience to improve your CV. The answer for Bath is actually 100%. I believe we're the only university in the country that has the work placement options for every single course that we offer at undergraduate level. So the reason I've made this the first question, it's a really big part of what we do. The University of Bath is really all about employability, getting you ready for the workplace, and using that to improve your graduate prospects. That's really our key marker. So all of our courses have this work placement option at undergraduate level. And we do work with some very impressive companies. So the likes of Bosch and Apple and Deloitte. We have placements with organizations like the United Nations, for example, with Rolls-Royce, with Boeing. So depending on the kind of course that students are interested in, there should be some impressive companies that do accept our students on these placements. So 68% of our students actually choose to take one of these options or to study abroad for the third year. And it is embedded throughout the university teams. So we have specialist advisors at the university that can help you find those placements, that can give you appropriate advice. Again, you can see some more organizations I've mentioned previously, but also Microsoft, L'Oreal, Disney, and others as well. So that is something that we do very, very well. If that's something you'd like to do, it is definitely something I would strongly recommend for students. The second question, the University of Bath is a top 10 university overall in the 2 UK league tables. Is that true or is it false? And the answer to that question It's actually false because we're ranked in the top 10 in all three of the UK national rankings. So in the UK, we have the three main rankings organizations are called The Guardian, the Complete University Guide, and the Times and the Sunday Times Good University Guide. And they use different criteria to judge how good universities are. And in the overall ranking, we are in the top 10 in all of the individual league tables. So we are one of the most prestigious universities in the UK. Everybody knows, of course, about Oxford and Cambridge. Those are probably the two of the universities with the best reputation in the world. I would say after those two, in terms of reputation, there are probably about 10, 12 different universities that are good in different ways. They're world class, but they have different things that they can offer. And I would certainly say that Bath is among those groups of universities. So a bit more about the rankings and the reputation. So more than 90% of our research was defined as either world leading or internationally excellent in the last research excellence framework assessment. We are ranked sixth for graduate prospects in the Complete University Guide, and we're also first in England for student experience in the last National Student Survey. That was the last time they asked that question in 2022. We are also ranked in the top 150 universities in the world by the QS rankings table, which some of you may be more familiar with. And we have the highest ranking, the gold ranking, in all of the categories in the Teaching Excellence Framework assessment. So these are things for your reassurance to give you the message that it's not just me saying this. We are a well-regarded university in terms of the rankings and the reputation. So the next question, which of these is not a top 5 subject delivered by the University of Bath? So is it marketing, psychology, architecture, or medicine? And the answer is, in fact, medicine. We actually don't offer medicine as a university, so that's something that you should know. We do offer biomed, but we don't offer medicine. We also don't offer law or most arts-related subjects. For most other courses that you might be interested in, we should have something to offer you. In all of those other three areas, we are ranked in the top 5 in the UK. And in this slide, you can see that we are ranked in the top 5 in all of those different subject areas. So what I really like about this graphic is that it shows you that we're not just a specialist university in one area. We do have a top 5 ranking for the UK in areas like different engineering programs, in business and management, in psychology, in architecture, sports, social policy. So there are lots of different areas where we perform very well. The next question, about how long does it take to travel from Bath to central London by train? So in terms of our location, are we 60 minutes from London, 80 minutes, 120 minutes, or 180 minutes? And the answer is 80 minutes. So we are relatively close to London, actually, although Bath is a separate city, but London is very accessible. So it's easy to go there on a day trip if it's for a job interview or if it's for sightseeing, shopping, whatever it might be. It is very easy to get to and from London. And you can see in this map approximately where we are in the UK. So we are in the southwest region of the UK, but we're actually in the northeast of the southwest. So we have quite a central location. So this question is, which of the following accolades is untrue, which is not true? Is it that Bath is one of the top 100 greatest places on earth, according to Time magazine? Is it that Bath is the only UNESCO World Heritage City in the UK? Is it that Bath is the top one in the top 12 best European destinations by Forbes magazine, or that Bath is the sunniest city in Western Europe, according to the BBC? And the answer is the sunniest city. So we don't quite have the same sunshine that probably most of you will be enjoying in Turkey, although today is an exception. But on the whole, you can see the other categories are all true. So this is letting you know that Bath is a desirable city to be in. It is a beautiful place to visit and to be a student. As I've said, we're the UK's only UNESCO World Heritage City. You can see here the original Roman baths from about 2,000 years ago. Again, I think in Turkey you have a lot of sites from those times yourselves as well around the country. We're also the second safest university in England and Wales, which is something that usually parents like to hear about. So statistically, it's also a very safe city. The coronation tradition in England actually started in Bath, in the Abbey where the students graduate from, actually, more than 1,000 years ago. Just a few more facts about Bath. So the planet Uranus was discovered from Bath. The world's first stamped letter was sent from Bath, and plasticine was invented as a tool to help students of sculpture in Bath as well. Here we've just got a few photos to give you a flavor of the city centre and what it looks like, how it feels. You can see we've got the river going through the middle of Bath. This is from higher up. This is called the Circus. You can see the typical sandstone buildings, the brickwork that's common throughout the city. In front of you there on the left-hand side, you can see actually the building where the students graduate from. So that's the Bath Abbey and the Roman Bath entrance, which is to the right. And that's the Abbey from another angle with some of our students. A typical little alleyway in Bath. You can see the eating house, Sally Lunn's Eating House, more than 340-year-old restaurant in the picture there. And some of our students enjoying the city centre as well. So the university campus is within easy reach of the city. It takes about 15 minutes to get there by train, although with a bit of traffic, sometimes it might take a bit longer. The students can access all of the museums and other attractions as well if they wish to do so. And here you can see the university campus from a slightly higher angle, looking down towards the city at the very top end of that photo. You just see the start of the city. So everything that we provide as a university is actually in one campus. All of the teaching takes place in one location. So you don't need to get a bus to go from the library to your next lecture or to the sports facilities or anything like that. It's all one campus, and we even have accommodation options on the campus as well. So by UK standards, we are a medium-sized university. So we have about 20,000 students or so altogether from 146 different countries as well. You can see most of the students are undergraduates because of the fact that they're there for 3 years usually. So of course that skews the percentages a bit. We have plenty of accommodation options as well. So we can, if students request, put students in single gender accommodation. We can put students in quiet accommodation if they prefer to be with other like-minded students. We have alcohol-free accommodation available for students if students prefer that. And we have eat and drink credits that can be used for students with a particular card that parents can load up with the appropriate amount of money. We also have specific postgraduate accommodation, so you've got some information about that here. We have a guaranteed application window for postgraduate accommodation, which is open now, and it closes on the 1st of July, and it is on a first come, first served basis. Now, as far as I know, none of the accommodation at the moment is sold out yet. So if you are applying, or if you have applied or you want to apply very soon, you should be able to have a good choice of different kinds of accommodation. You can see the price range as well for this is for postgraduate accommodation for this year, which is based on a 51-week contract. And don't forget that does include all of your bills. It does include 24-hour security. It includes high-speed Wi-Fi as well. So there are some benefits for those also. For undergraduate students, we've got more than 4,000 bedrooms across the campus and in the city centre. The contract is not 51 weeks, it's 38 weeks, because for postgraduate students, the course is a full 1 year course. For undergraduate students, you would usually study for 9 months and then go back home for 3 months during the summer mainly. For undergraduate and postgraduate accommodation, you can see that we do guarantee accommodation for students under most circumstances. So just bear that in mind. You can, if you want, go and look at all the different kinds of accommodation on the website and have a feel for the different kind of rooms with 360-degree views where you can see typical rooms for the kind of accommodation that you're interested in. We do have some private housing options. So for people who want a different kind of accommodation, maybe they have a different budget. Maybe they would like an apartment for themselves, or maybe they want to move with a family or with a brother or sister or something like that. Then we do have some private housing options too, and there are some examples of those listed there. And we do have lots of further advice we can give you about accommodation, what we call the Res Life pages. You can see what you have coming up, how we can assist the students, give some advice about living there, about extending your budget, about walking around the city, about tours, how to stay safe. Lots of different events and things that we can help you to do if you're a student with us. We do, of course, offer lots of student support. So we have academic support, including one-to-one guidance. So if, for example, you want to submit your first piece of work, but you're a bit concerned about the English language content, then you can actually speak to one of our English language tutors on a one-to-one basis for no extra charge. And they can help you to make sure that the structure and the grammatical content is as it should be. Of course, they won't write it for you, but they can give you lots of advice about that to support you. We do offer faith support. We have an immigration advice service if you want to go for the post-study work visa. We have a medical center on the campus as well. And we have lots that we can do in terms of careers advice and the careers service. It's quite easy to get a job in Bath because Bath is quite a touristic city, and a lot of the employers are looking for students to do some casual part-time work, which can suit your timetable because it would usually be during the weekends or maybe some evenings as well. So there are lots of opportunities with that too. There are plenty of ways that you can contact the different employers that we work with, including careers fairs. We have workshops that you can attend. We have special placement teams within the different faculties for all the different subjects. So again, unfortunately, we don't have the time to go into a lot of detail on this now, but it really is a key marker for us as a university, the support that we can offer you to help you to get a good job afterwards. We have lots of different clubs and societies that you can join as well. So I've picked some out here, including our Turkish society as well. We've got departmental societies. We've got country, region, or religion-specific societies as well. Again, relating to Islam or Christianity or whatever your religion might be as well. So there's lots of ways that you can be involved in different societies and meet like-minded people too. I've mentioned already some faith and cultural societies, but you can see some of those listed here. You can just it gives an example of the kind of widespread uh, things that you can get involved with, basically. And of course, you don't have to be from that country to join a particular country society, for example. Maybe you went to Thailand on holiday once and you really enjoyed it, and you want to meet some people from there and maybe get some discounts for Thai restaurants or whatever it might be. So it doesn't mean that you can't go and join other societies too. In fact, you'd be very welcome to be joining them. I'm sure they would like to have you along. Bath does have some exceptional sports facilities. So for sports, probably the two most famous universities in the UK are Bath and Loughborough. And we have some really extraordinary facilities. We were actually a training centre for the Olympics, for the US swimming team, and for some other teams as well. You can see some of the facilities that you can get involved with. You don't have to be a sporty person to be involved. If you don't want to do any sports, then it's okay, don't do any sports. But for people who are interested, the facilities are excellent, and the teams that we have are very, very competitive and very strong. So if you just want to play casually, or if you want to play more competitively, there will be different options for you. We actually had 17 Olympic and Paralympic medal winners at the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. So this just gives you a flavor of some of those. In terms of the courses and the faculties and the departments, here you can see the main faculties. So we've got three faculties and a School of Management. So you can see within them the different departments that we have. So if you are interested in a course that falls under one of those areas, then we will probably have something that would be of interest to you. And you can obviously find out more about them by looking at the individual course pages on the website. In terms of undergraduate entry requirements, you can see our requirements on the right there for students coming from Turkey with a diploma and for A-level grades. I do know that there are plenty of Turkish students who will take some combination of the Turkish diploma with IB or A levels, and we will deal with those on a case-by-case basis. So, depending on the balance of what you're taking and the grades that you're expecting, we have an email address at the end. You'll be able to write to them, explain your circumstances, what the balance is, and we'll give you some advice on what we would expect you to achieve to be able to join the University of Bath. But you can join directly to the university with the Turkish diploma if you have that. We do have scholarships as well. So in undergraduate team, you can see the levels that you require based on what you receive in your Turkish diploma. I know that's a very high grade, but again, we are quite a high ranking university, which is why those requirements for scholarships are quite high. For further information for entry requirements, every course page will have something like this as a drop-down menu on the page towards the bottom. So you can just click on Turkey or any country if you're from somewhere else. Then it will give you a description of what we would normally expect you to have. So if you don't quite fit the requirement, if you're a near miss or you have some work experience that you think should be considered, anything like that, you can write to us and we can also give you some advice about how that might change our expectations. So for postgraduate students, typically we would look for about a 2.8 to 3.0 or better in the GPA in the licence, depending on the university that you've graduated from. It may be lower for some subjects, depending on what you're going for. It does take about 2 or 3 weeks for us to process your application. So bear that in mind. For example, if you want to make sure that you meet a deadline for accommodation or for scholarships, then remember that you need to allow extra time for us to process your application first. For English language, most of the courses would need 6.5 to 7.0 IELTS overall. It does depend on the course. We do accept the one skill retake for IELTS as well. And we do have lots of other qualifications which we also accept, including some online ones, including Duolingo, for example. And if you don't quite make the entry requirement, we do have 5 and 10 week pre-sessional courses if you are a near miss. So if you're zero point 0.5 IELTS or 1.0 below, you can come and join us for 5 or 10 weeks and simply go through and carry on with your main course. So those pre-sessional programs, they happen directly before the main course happens. So they would normally start in the middle of August or in the middle of July. You have here some of the other tests which are accepted. And as I've mentioned in terms of the pre-sessional requirements, you can see the costs there, the start dates as well, and some typical students. So those courses are not just about English language, they also improve your general skills, so things like presentation skills, essay writing, and so on as well. So there's some other benefits too. There are some application fees which will vary from £60 up to £100, depending on the course. And some courses will have most courses will have deposit requirement, which will be either 1,000, 1,500, or 10% of the course fee. It just depends on the program, depends on the course. Then the last thing I'd like to cover in its entirety is the scholarships. So this is for postgraduate students. Please remember that. Turkey is this year, for the first time, we've offered these new merit award scholarships, and Turkey is amongst the countries that are now eligible for a £5,000 tuition fee discount for postgraduate courses in the three faculties. So unfortunately not for the School of Management, but for the other courses, the three faculties, engineering and design, for humanities and social sciences, and for science. And those awards are given at the point of offer. So they are effectively automatic. There are some conditions. So for example, you can't have applied to Bath previously. You should have studied your first degree in Turkey and some other things. But for most of you listening, that £5,000 award would be automatic for this year. And as I said, it's the first time we've ever done this. So hopefully that's something that would benefit you as well. You can also apply for other faculty scholarships. So the main ones are what we call the Dean's Award for Academic Excellence and the Global Leaders Scholarship. So both of those are worth £5,000 each, and they can also potentially be combined. So you could get £10,000 off plus another £5,000 for the merit award that I mentioned previously. They are based on, they are competitive, so it's based on academic quality. So if you've got a really, really good grade from a really good university, you can show that you've got a good background, that you have potential to be a future global leader, not political leader, but a leader in your field, then you have more chance of getting one of those. But they are very competitive. About maybe 6 or 7% of students that apply for those will get one. So do bear that in mind. The £5,000 merit award is automatic, but these ones are a lot more competitive. The deadline for this year is the 11th of June. So you need to make sure that you've got an offer for the course beforehand, and then you can apply for the scholarship. So really by, I would say the middle of May would probably be the latest time to apply for the course at the university before you, just to make sure that you get the offer back before you then apply in time for the scholarship. Now, unfortunately, the deadline for the School of Management courses has actually passed. They will be available again next year, but if you are a fresh applicant, then you would not be eligible for a scholarship for the School of Management if you're applying for 2025 entry. So there are plenty of ways that you can find out more. You can book one-to-one chats with our postgraduate student recruitment managers, such as me. We can arrange chats directly with our current students. And also we have a virtual open day. The next one is on the 4th of June. So if you are available, then please join in for that. I believe in Turkey that the timing would be 1 p.m. To 5 p.m. On that day, on the 4th of June. And that's a way where you can be involved in some live discussions. You can ask your questions about the faculties, the courses, the programs, the accommodation, anything you want. So if you would like to join for any part of that, then please do so. And I mentioned some emails for you there. So for the undergraduate admissions team, if you would like to find out more, particularly about how your Turkish qualification combined with IB or A-level will be assessed, then you have the email for the undergraduate admissions team there. And for postgraduate courses, the first address is for the 3 faculties. The second, the last email address there is for the School of Management programs. So if you have any questions, then you can feel free to ask them. So that's all from me. I appreciate you listening. I know I've thrown a lot of information at you there, but hopefully that's given you a little bit of a flavor of what we do. As I told you, there's plenty more, of course, that you can find on the website or from our teams. If you're interested in joining this year or in a future year, then of course would be very happy to hear from you. Now, I'm going to just have a look to see if I can see some of the questions that have been coming in, if you bear with me. Okay, so Zainab, if it's okay with you, shall I just carry on and go through some of those questions?
Yes, please.
Okay, perfect. I can see some, I'm just reading them as we go through, some good questions coming in. Right, so the first question from Layla, does the university help finding a job for the placement year, or are we supposed to find one ourselves? I got confused. Thank you. That's actually a really, really good question. No problem. I'm happy to answer it. So for undergraduate programs, the placements are guaranteed, but you're not guaranteed to get the specific placement that you want. At postgraduate level, the placements are not guaranteed. But the good thing about the postgraduate level is that you can apply for a postgraduate course which offers a placement. If you don't get the placement that you want, or you change your mind, you simply want to, maybe you get a job, for example, a permanent job, and you don't need a placement, then you can simply change your mind, and there's no kind of punishment, if you like, in terms of your visa or financial penalty or your grade or anything like that. So it gives you that maximum choice at postgraduate level. So normally with placements, the way I usually explain it to students is that we open the door, but you've still got to walk through it. So we will help you to, we will have some placements which are exclusive to us. There are others which will be open to any university student in the UK, and we will advise you accordingly. We will sit down with you and say, look, what kind of organization do you want to work for? Is the salary the most important thing, or is the nature of the work you're doing that's very maybe specific to the subject you're studying, or is it maybe more important for you to work with a very big famous brand name like Amazon or Apple or someone like that? Then we will advise you accordingly, and you can then apply yourself. But you would still need to be motivated to apply for them yourself. You may need to go for an interview. You may need to do some other prep work in advance. Some of the jobs will be public facing, so they will look for someone with more presentation skills. Others will not be. They'll be working in a non-public facing way, so they won't be looking for those skills. So it really does depend. But basically, we've got some really good connections, and we will help you according to what you are individually looking for. So I hope that's been helpful, Layla. You've actually put another question here about the recommendations on budget or student-friendly areas to live in Bath. Would I recommend on-campus or off-campus accommodation? So another good question from Layla. I think it depends on the individual. If I was an undergraduate student, I would probably like to live on the campus in the first year, which is guaranteed. And that then means that you can make friends very easily. And then maybe in future years, you can either live with your friends or you can decide to live by yourself or whatever it might be. For postgraduate, it depends on your lifestyle. Most postgraduates actually live in university managed accommodation, but in the city centre. We do have postgraduate accommodation on campus as well, although it is quite expensive because it's quite good quality and quite new. But we do have both options there as well for you. What I will say is that the Bath is it's a city, but it's not a very big city, so it's not very complicated to get from the city centre if you're living there to the university. The buses are very regular, so in the term time, every 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe, there'll be buses that come up to the campus. So it's not difficult to get to us if you're living in the city centre, but you may prefer to live in the city or otherwise. Bath is not a very cheap city, I should say. The reason is because it's it's considered a desirable place to live. It's kind of uh, I can say a posh kind of city. So the accommodation is not particularly cheap. It's not, of course, like some parts of London or other areas, but relatively speaking, the accommodation is not that cheap. So there are still some areas that are a bit more popular, and our accommodation team will be able to help you with that as well. They can give you lots of advice. So, for example, if you said, Layla, that I only have a budget for, let's say, this much every week, then we can give you advice about what we can do for you, whether it should be managed by us or maybe it should be a private sector find for yourself. So, scrolling down again, so what research opportunities does your school offer for my major? So that does depend a little bit on if it's, I'm not sure if that's undergraduate or postgraduate. With undergraduate, what you will find for most of the courses, um, you would be studying quite generally in the first year, and then as you go through, it would become more specific to what you are particularly interested in. So, for example, if you were studying psychology, then you would be able to get all of the base knowledge that you need around the topic areas that are covered in that subject. But then when you get to your final year, you'd be able to choose modules and research into those areas if you're interested in, for example, criminal psychology, or if you're interested in maybe working with handicapped children, then you could look to do some research into those areas. So there is always an option of a research paper that you could do as part of your degree program, and we would support you with those as well. And it's similar for the postgraduate program. So the postgraduate courses, they would offer the option of either a dissertation. Usually you have the option of a dissertation, your own piece of research, which we would support you with, or you would do something called a practice track, where you're working with something like a consulting basis with a real life company on solving a real life problem, maybe in groups as well. So there are different kind of options that you can do there as well. So another question as well from Pera. Does your university require a letter of recommendations, and could you give me any advice about that? So we do need one reference, and that should preferably be an academic reference. If you've been working for some time and it's been a few years since you've been at university, then we may accept we would accept a work reference instead of the academic reference. So if you just allow me a moment just to look at some other questions. So do we have an open house program for prospective students? So we have the virtual open day, which I mentioned on the 4th of June, but we also have in-person open days, which you can join if you want to as well. I don't have the dates to hand, but if you search it, if you simply Google the University of Bath Open Day, then you'll be able to see when the next open day would be, and you'll be able to sign up for that if you wish to do so. So that's from an anonymous attendee. And we have a question from a mechanical engineering offer holder. Well, congratulations for having the offer. I want to ask if there are options of taking a minor or an elective course in management while studying mechanical engineering. Um, so there are, it's quite a difficult question to answer. So there are sometimes some options that you could take in another faculty, but it would usually need to be in some way related to your course, not completely unrelated. So it does depend specifically on the course that you're taking, and whether you'd be able to do that. Um, there are always electives that are, well, not always, but most of the time there are electives that you can take within your own course to specialize in certain areas. So for example, if you're taking politics, then you can specialize in politics of Asia, or politics of conflict resolution, or whatever it might be. But it's a bit more unusual to, let's say you're doing the mechanical engineering course, just to simply take a marketing module within the School of Management. That might be awkward because sometimes you'll have those modules where the modules would be for students who have already built up some knowledge within that field. And so sometimes it'd be quite difficult for a student from a different department to go in and simply take a module and be at the same level as the people who have been studying that specifically for a certain amount of time. So it is more unusual. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but in most cases it would not be allowed if it's completely unrelated. Is it possible to change my major once I'm admitted, from Bouquet? That question is. So it can, it does depend a little bit, firstly, on whether you're qualified. And also there could be some visa complications too. My main concern is that, of course, once the course has started, if you're then doing a different course, those modules will have already have started, and it may be too much for you to take on to catch up with. So uh, it, I would say it's doubtful that you'd be able to do that. It's not completely impossible, but it would need to be a change within the first week or two of the course, and it would need to be agreed by the faculty staff. So I would say in most cases, no. But if it's really closely related, it may be possible to do that. How many transfer credits do you accept from a transfer student? So that's another question from an anonymous attendee. So transfers they need to be dealt with on a case by case basis. So if you are looking to transfer from an undergraduate course where you've already done 1 year with one university, then the email that I gave you previously, that is UG International Admissions at bath.ac.uk. They are probably the best people to write to. But I have to say, again, the way that the courses are built with us, you're building on the second year and the third year on existing knowledge. So they would have to be sure, the admissions team would have to be sure that the knowledge that you've built up from what you've studied so far, it ticks all of the boxes for what we would normally expect to cover in the first year of our own course. So with that rules out that possibility in most instances. But again, I'd say not impossible. It's just something that you would need to write to our team and see what they can offer. So Celine is asking on what on-campus job opportunities are available on campus. So I mentioned earlier that there are lots of casual job opportunities that are available in the city as a whole. We have a section on our website called the Student Union, so that the SU, and they post different job opportunities. So you could probably have a look now to see what might be available, and see if there might be something there for you. Those would normally though be casual work opportunities because of course you're still studying. You're not allowed to work full time during your course, although you can during your holidays. So you would just need to understand that it would normally be on a casual basis rather than being a professional job, which is obviously what you do once you graduate. Another anonymous question, but a very good question. When will I be interviewed for my course? So actually, for almost all courses, we don't have interviews. Uh, the exceptions are there is one with interpreting and translating, where there's actually quite a long interview process for that course, and also for the MBA there is an interview process as well. But for most other courses, there is no interview that's needed. It's done based on the offers are made based on your qualifications. Um, do we offer online courses and are there any limitations? So there are a limited number of online courses that we've partnered with an organization to offer, but it's not in all courses. And those would be entirely online. I think there's 6 or 7 programs. I can't remember what all of those are, but you can look at the long list of courses that we have, and in brackets it will say if it's offered online. So if you look at the list of courses, you'll be able to see what's available there. But in general, as a university, we would normally be expecting students to be in person and be attending live there. Um, Zainab, I don't know if we need to wrap up now or if we can carry on with a couple of more questions.
We can still go on.
Okay, can we provide application stats for computer science or engineering bachelors? So Urson is asking this. How many seats available for international students and how many applications were there in total? So I don't unfortunately have the statistics to hand on applications. We do sometimes get this question about um, the application success rate, but I personally, I don't think that that is as relevant to your decision because, of course, if you get a lot of really, really bad applications, then it will look like you're being very particular about the universities that you that the excuse me the students that you accept, um, and in terms of the statistics. And then if you're getting lots of excellent applications and you're accepting them all, then it may look like you actually have lower standards when in fact you don't. It just depends on the quality of the applications. So I don't have those statistics, but for computer science and for engineering, there aren't, as far as I'm aware, any restrictions in terms of the students coming from overseas countries. So there isn't a cap on those. So hopefully there would not be that sort of bias that you might expect. You might have heard of for courses like medicine and so forth. What are the conditions? So Irem is asking, what are the conditions for providing foundation for a master's degree? We don't have like a pre-master's course. I'm not sure if that's what you mean exactly. But if you have received your first degree, then you can obviously go for the master's degree. You don't even need to have finished your first degree before applying to Bath. So we can make an offer of a place based on the course that you've done up to your final year. So you can apply and still secure your place. And then we will say, okay, so we're giving you a place on the condition that you get, let's say, 2.8 or 3.0 in your GPA at the end of the year. So then you have something called a conditional offer. And that means the offer is yours. We're waiting to see your final result. Once you finish your final result and you send it to us, you upload your result, then the offer goes from conditional to unconditional, and that's when you can apply for your visa and so forth. So that is quite normal actually for universities in the UK. That's how the process works for that. And then we've had another question. It's asking about IB DP scores in course-related subjects, and whether they allow you to cover specific lectures through credit transfer. To be honest, that is quite specific. So yeah, I'd be a bit uncomfortable answering that on this webinar. I think if you write to the email address I gave you, so that's UG International Admissions. I know it's very long. UG International Admissions at bath.ac.uk. Then they will be able to help you. So just explain your situation, and they're the experts because that's specifically the admissions team. I know a bit about admissions, but I'm not from the admissions team myself. So if you have a particular inquiry, then they're the best team to write to. So Zainab, I think that covers all of the questions. I should apologize as well if I got any of your name pronunciations wrong. I'm sorry about that, but hopefully it wasn't too bad.
Yes, thank you very much for the great presentation, Farman. And we had a lot of questions. You covered all of the questions. Thank you for your answers as well. It was very informative for the attendees. And also I would like to thank the participants in Turkish too. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. Umarım sizin için de faydalı bir webinar olmuştur. University of Bath ile ilgili diğer sorularınız için chat kısmında paylaşılmış olan mail adresinden Farman'a her zaman ulaşabilirsiniz. Bir sonraki webinarlarımızda görüşmek üzere. Thank you very much again, Farman. It was a pleasure to have you in IFT Talk.
That's my pleasure, and thank you everyone for attending. It's been lovely to be with you, and thanks for your very, very good questions too. Good luck, whatever your future holds.
Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.